Hey lovelies, I am here with another fun makeup tag today, and it's all about eyeshadows, and I'm here for it. I really love watching and doing makeup tags, especially ones that are about eyeshadow, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. We are doing the Eyeshadow Palette Collection Tag. Now, I originally saw Morgan Turner do this tag. She did mention that Angelica Liramar was the one that created this tag. I will make sure to have both of their videos linked down below if you would like to check them out. Now, if we haven't met before, my name is Kelly, and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist, and here on my channel, I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos, like more makeup tags, because they are coming. Now, this tag is really great. It's pretty brief. There's only 8 questions, and I love that it's like delving into our collection together and giving a few thoughts on some of the palettes that I have and what I think they represent. So let's get into it. All right, number 1 is the doozy. This was the hardest one, and it's right at the beginning. This is if I would pick an eyeshadow palette in my collection that represents me as far as the color story. I seriously struggled with this one, and I'm very surprised. I'm very surprised with the one that I ended up on. Not because I don't love it, because I love it. I've talked about it here on my channel before, but it's like, I'm just regretful. Am I tomorrow going to need to do an insert and be like, wait, I actually think I want to change to this one, but this is the one that I'm going with right now. I just was like flipping through all of my palettes, like, this one's missing this. This one's kind of missing this. This one's too bold. This one's too nude. You guys know I tend to like kind of be a little bit of everything. And why don't I just show you the palette? Gosh, Kelly. This is the Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette. Now, I mean, I do think the packaging does kind of represent me a little bit. Now, this palette, if I can get it to not blind you with its gold casing, it just has a beautiful blend of neutrals and pops of color, and a lot of it is shimmer shades, which you guys know that I love. So it still smells really yummy, like that Too Faced chocolate smell. You know, it's really more like Hershey's cocoa. It's not like, you know, true chocolate, I guess I would say. So I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this. Maybe if I like put it back here. It's so hard because of that gold packaging, but this really has some beautiful shades. I'm going to swatch a couple for you, but first of all, off the bat, there are some like not quite rose gold, but pretty darn close. There's like a nice little rosy brown moment going on here. And oh, sorry, I've got a swatch from the video that I just did. By the way, hot summer makeup. The makeup that's going to keep you looking great in the hot, sweaty season. This is what I have on my face right now, minus a lipstick change just because I was feeling like a little change up. But if you guys want to check that one out, I will make sure to have it listed down below. But that's going to be what that little blob is on my hand from. And then we also have like a little like olive green moment in here. If you guys know me, you know I love my greens. And then we have a couple like pops of color. Like we've got this nice little bit sparkly like fuchsia going on. I really like that one. Let me pull one more out. Oh yeah, this Rich Girl shade. This is like it's a silver, but it's more of like a taupey silver and so shiny. So at first glance, this might look a little boring, but it really does have some beautiful shades in it. So I don't know if you guys can see her. I do really like this. You do get, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4. You only get 4 mattes in here. I will say I could maybe do with like one more matte, like a colorful matte would have made this perfect, but just like me, it's not perfect. Can you believe it? So I guess I would say it's not quite perfectly a representation of me because I probably would like a colorful matte mixed within here, but it's pretty close. There are, I mean, all of these shades I really like, other than there's one shade that I don't even think I've ever even swatched, and that's Drippin' Diamonds. It's more of like a blue silver. Maybe that would be a good video to do, like using the colors in my palettes that I've never ever touched. That could be a fun one to try sometime. At any rate, I do really think that this does pretty well in representing me color-wise. It is really fantastic. I can prove to you that I like it because I did purchase another one to share with one of you in my 1,000 follower giveaway on Instagram. That will be coming up hopefully soon. We're getting there, so make sure that you are following me on Instagram at KEEPBEAUTYREAL. The palette is going to go into that giveaway, so make sure that you're following over there and that you're subscribed here so you don't miss out on that. All right, now is the pick of the eyeshadow palette in my collection that represents me packaging-wise. So I have to say, when I was going through, I was very surprised. I was looking for something just slightly different, but this was the closest that I got, and this is the Sigma Rendezvous palette. This, I would say, represents me really well in the packaging because it's almost rose gold. I would say that the metal bar on it is actually rose gold, but the rest of it is more of that like champagne-y tone. But I will say also, the color story does actually represent me because we do have some beautiful rose golds in here. I know it's about the packaging on this, but the inside is really pretty too. So I love me a good rose gold moment. You guys know this. I really like this. I think it's like chic and elegant. It's sparkly, but it's still like a classy version of sparkly. So I really do like this. The shadows in here are really wonderful. This has actually made me want to try more Sigma shadows. I really did want to get the Untamed palette, and then I just like didn't. And now I feel like, I'm kind of like over that moment. And now I'm waiting for like the next Sigma color story that really grabs me, I'm going to get, because honestly, I was wowed by this formula. So love this, and I love the packaging. All right, number 3 is if I would pick an eyeshadow palette in my collection that represents summer. Well, I did just recently do the top palettes for summer video, so I wanted to pick something other than those palettes. But if you guys want to see all of those palettes, that video is going to be linked down below, so make sure to check it out. So I wanted to pick something totally different, and the minute I saw this one, I knew this was going to be the one that I would pick. I've talked about this before. It is an oldie, a goodie. You can't get it anymore. This is Dream Street. It was a collab between Kathleen Lights and ColourPop. Okay, so hear me out here. I do think that this has a really nice representation of summer colors. This was actually almost my like what represents me. This is totally my jam, but I do feel like I'm a little bit more colorful than what this palette is, but I know that this is the summer palette, and I do think you've got these nice like kind of like aqua-y tones in here, which to me, like you have coppery rose golds, you have coral peach, you have aquas. To me, that is summer in a palette. But this gives me serious vacation vibes because I have taken this on pretty much every cruise I've taken, which I know I'm usually taking those vacations in the winter, but the feel on those vacations is totally summer. You're like snorkeling, you're out in the blue water. It's like 80, 90 degrees. It feels like summer, and I love bringing this palette with me on those trips. So for me, this is just near and dear to my heart, and it gives me those vibes. It just gives me those feels. So I really do love this palette. I'm not going to bother swatching this one because you guys can't get it. And in case you fall in love with it and you don't have it, I don't want to be that girl. So we are going to move on to the next one. And that one is an eyeshadow palette that represents happy. I have a lot of makeup that represents happy to me. That's why I have it. But when I saw this one, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to choose this one. So this is the Glam Shop W Zieloni palette. Again, Polish, I'm sorry. This is an all green monochromatic palette, and ooh, as you guys can see, I love me some of these like bright shades. This actually, look you guys, this like matches my nail pretty darn well. The white is probably like blinding you guys, but this matches my nail polish pretty well. So you've got this like chartreuse shade. I really love the shade. I will swatch that one out for you. Obviously the swatch of this is probably not gonna be that awesome, but then you've got this like really nice, like almost like peridot, like, oh, just beautiful. It's like lime and chartreuse had a baby. And then you've got some really nice, like more like bluey green shades in here. Let's see if I can get a good swatch of this guy. So it's a green palette, but it's still like nice and bright. And I think that to me, greens make me happy. I love wearing green. I love everything green. And this palette is just wonderful. So this palette does make me so happy. I think there's also just something to the crisp white package, and then you've got like the poppy greens inside. There's just something about every time I open this, I'm like, ooh, and I love using it. I've used this palette a few times now, and I really enjoy it. If it is still available, I highly recommend it. All right, picking an eyeshadow palette that represents the dark and grungy in me. Natasha Denona Metropolis, which I know it isn't like super duper grungy, but I mean, first of all, the packaging is like kind of grungy. You've got that like really dark, like shiny, deep metallic, but I feel like there is definitely a decent bit of grunge in here. So first of all, I love that this has a variety of colors in here, but you do have everything from like a incredibly deep, like tealy navy shade. You have a really deep green because of course this has the beautiful creamy formula that Natasha started doing. You have, I mean, really honestly, like some murky olive shades. I really love this. And so to me, you get a bit of grunge from this, but I don't know, it still has enough of a pop. Like, I mean, I like this. I like right here is almost like a bit of a grungy rainbow moment. If I just had like a little, oh yeah, we've got a little like mustard in here. So here we go. It's out of order as far as the rainbow goes, but we've got like a nice grungy rainbowy moment in here. And I just feel like all of the looks that I've gotten from this, even if they're bright, they have that little bit of like, I don't know how to explain it, but like that little bit of intensity. I freaking love this palette. You guys know this is my favorite Natasha Denona that I own so far. Who knows? She's probably gonna launch like 10 more this year, so we will see if the rankings change. I did rank all my Natasha Denona palettes, and that was a lot of fun, but I knew that this one was gonna be right at the top. So dark and grungy, but still a little sexy. All right, an eyeshadow palette that represents the girly in me. And I kind of want to change girly. First of all, I think we should include everybody in this tag. So I know where they were going with this. It's like grungy and dark. So maybe we could change it to like ethereal and light. That's going to be what I sort of make this to be. There are some amazing content creators out there that really don't probably identify as being a girl. So I just want to make this more like light and ethereal. So that's going to be what I'm like, again, kind of pushing this into. I'm just gonna show you, and I've talked about this before. This is the Lime Crime Venus XL2. This just has the most beautiful, like, again, ethereal shades to it. Again, it's got that dang metallic reflection to it. I'll swatch a few of these. This was in my top palettes for spring because, again, I do think it has that beautiful, like, ethereal, springy feel to it. It's really a lot of, like, mauves and sage, and, I mean, you have, like, a couple deeper shades in this, but it is really all just, like, I don't know, beautiful, like I said, ethereal shades in here. And I probably have, you know, other, like, light palettes, but some of them are like light in not a good way. You know, it's like light as in like, what are we even doing here? So this to me, again, it just represents those feels to me. So I've swatched a few of these. These shadows really don't swatch well, I will be honest, but they do perform nicely. They do take a bit of building, but I think that like with these shades, they're kind of meant to be sheer. But again, I mean, you can see here, you just have like some mauves, some sage, some light shimmers. I really like it. Every time I wear this palette, I just feel like pretty and angelic. And so that's gonna be the palette for this question. All right, a palette in my collection that represents fun. Again, this is one that I pulled out quite a few. I actually almost had two tied, but I wanted to pick out something that I don't think that I've put in a rankings video yet, because I do have a lot of palettes that I think are fun. That's why I bought them, right? But I wanted to pull out the Kaleidos Club Nebula palette. I did one video doing several looks on my channel with this. I think I also did a palette bingo with this. It is so fun, and I really love the color story in here. I almost chose this one for the next question, and we can talk about that in a second. I wish I could like get this. There we go. So again, look at this. It is very fun. I love that you have some very bright tones in it. You have some deep jewel tones. And then of course the shimmer shades are super fun. You've got a couple like multi-chrome kind of shifty shades. They're very much like toppers. So I think that these can really transform looks, which again is fun. So this was my first Kaleidos purchase, and it certainly won't be the last. I am amazed by the quality, amazed by the color story, and Angelica Nyquist did such a good job designing this palette, and I am in love. So great job, Angie. I cannot wait to try more Kaleidos. Also, I figured I should give this palette its moment to shine, so I just wanted to swatch a few of the shades. But like, in what kind of palette do you ever get like lime green, beautiful deep plum, and then like shifty lilacs? I love this. All right, the last question is, what is the palette that I would pick from my collection that represents inspiration? So again, I could have totally picked Club Nebula. I really do think that not only the color story, but like the toppers in here are very inspiring. I truly just love playing around with this palette. But I do have a palette that I would say wows me a little bit more when it comes to the inspiration part of the makeup experience, and that is the Pat McGrath Mothership Mega palette. This is the Celestial Divinity Mothership Mega. I love this palette. I will say I feel like the color story is maybe not quite as broad. I don't know. I mean, let's face it. I feel like Pat has been all about the pinks, the purples, and the golds. Like, that's kind of her jam, but you do have like some more like deep burgundy and bronzy tones. You have a really pretty olive green in here. I honestly find that every time I pull this palette out, I'm just kind of amazed. Like I really have so much fun with it. And I guess the only thing that I would say is if it had maybe one more matte in it, it would probably make it even more inspiring to use, just because I would have a little bit more wide range. But there's just something about like playing. There's a feel of play. I just have always found that I love playing with the shades and seeing what I can come up with. Part of it is that for me, I find that Pat McGrath is still a brand that I'm like introducing myself to as far as like the shadows, well, kind of as far as everything, but like I just am still like, ooh, I wonder how this is going to be. And honestly, I haven't had anything that disappoints. I really thought that this palette was a total bang for the buck too. So I just really like it. That's all I can say. I find it to be inspiring. I find a lot of my, you know, shadow palettes to be inspiring, but I really do find that every time I've worn this, I did do a palette bingo on this and I was like, wow, yeah, I love this. So for me, anytime that happens, if you have to pick random shades and you love what you come up with, and the fact that I wanted to do a palette bingo with this, I think that alone just shows how inspiring it was. I do really love it. So that is it. This was just a quick little fun chit chat about some eyeshadows. You know how we do, you know what we love. This is something that I really enjoy doing. If you have done this video, if you're a creator and you did this video, please let me know, tag it down below. And if you're just hanging out here as a makeup enthusiast, please let me know down below what the shadow palette is that represents you. I would love to know. I'm really curious to see like what everybody vibes with. So I had a lot of fun filming this. I had a lot of fun picking these out. I really think it's time to like dig some of these out as well. Although I am in the thick of getting ready to start doing my looks from my top summer palettes. Again, I'll go ahead and actually link that one up here if you did want to see that, but that's going to be what's inspiring me for the next few weeks on Instagram. So maybe after that I'll have to dig back into a few of these, but I hope you're having a wonderful day. I do really appreciate that you take some of the time out of your day to spend it here with me. It means a lot. If you did like this, don't forget to give it a like. It really does help me out, and I'll see you really soon.